Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sunny in Colorado, and today I want to talk about the pros and cons of purchasing real estate in Colorado. But I also want to talk about the pros and cons of selling real estate. And I don't mean from an agent's perspective of selling real estate, I'm talking about the actual homeowner selling their home, or a non homeowner, or even another homeowner buying another home, or basically from the homeowner's perspective of just some pros and cons of buying and selling a home in Colorado. Now, just keep in mind, most of these pros and cons, on the buyer side, it's going to be the opposite on the seller side. So, for example, if I were to say the seller side is orange, the opposite of that's going to be red, the buyer side is red. And when I'm saying the buyer side is red, being a pro, then on the seller side, it's going to be a con. Okay, in most cases, that's the general rule, usually, because these are both opposite of each other, selling and buying. Um, but there's going to be some of them that don't get along, or they're going to be right on the line, and it's going to be up to you to make that decision on where you are in your life and what your final goal is, and the reason why you're buying real estate, whether that's to invest, to have a temporary home, and then eventually move on to buy more real estate and build your portfolio and rent out your past homes as you go on. That's going to dictate, and that's where you're going to have to make those decisions, or reach out to a real estate agent to ask more questions about whatever topic I may hit upon that may concern you. Feel free to reach out to me, but let's go ahead and get started with the pros and cons of buying and selling. Let's first start with buying a home in Colorado. The real estate market in Colorado has been pretty strong in the last few years. I mean, if you want to go back, I guess it's always been strong, just like real estate anywhere in most places that don't turn into maybe a marsh or an airport or a trash dump. Otherwise, as long as you are buying smart, in most cases, and in Colorado in the last couple of years, it's definitely been a great investment. So as long as you're planning on staying in for the long haul, whether you're going to be living there for 5 to 7 years and then moving on, but that's a good time frame to really gain enough equity. Usually 2 years is usually going to give you a little bit of equity, but it may just give you enough to purchase your next home, not so much to really make money off that home, unless your actual incentive is to buy that home, live there for a couple years, use that equity to buy another home, and then rent that home out. If that's the case, it's a great opportunity to buy no matter what the interest rates are, because as you live in the home, as interest rates fall, and usually interest rates are usually rising and falling within 3%. It's very rare what just happened in 2021 during COVID, where things were down in 3%. And that was more of just a way to get people incentivized to go and get loans in order to spend more money in the world so the world doesn't collapse during COVID. So that's the reason why you've seen these low rates, and that's just the way the world works. But now that things are a little more normal, you're starting to see those regular rates come back, that 5, 6, 7%, depending on what your credit score is. The better the credit score, the better the rate. So in the long run, if you are investing, the only thing that's really stopping you is going to be those monthly payments that you have to afford, because that higher interest rate is definitely going to make your payment more. But the houses roughly are, yes, more expensive, but it really is the interest rate that keeps you from making that monthly payment or being able to make that monthly payment. But like I said, in the long run, real estate investment or even buying a home in Colorado with the future opportunities to even advance more in buying more property, it's a great pro here in Colorado. Now, on the opposite side of that of investors, it really depends. Rents are really high. So if you're buying an investment property that you're going to be renting, if someone's paying $1,000 for a bedroom, and depending on what you purchase, if you're able to rent that out for $1,200, someone's paying $1,000 for a one-bedroom studio to move up to a two-bedroom and pay $1,500, which probably won't be the case because of the interest rates, but you do the math. You have your loan agent sit down and do the math with you, and in most cases, it's going to work out for you in the long run anyways. If you're an outdoors person, you enjoy the things like hiking, skiing, when I say skiing, water skiing or snow skiing, outdoor sports in general. If that is your thing and that is your quality of life, then the Pro is huge, because no matter where you live in Colorado, you're going to have the outdoor life right within walking distance in most cases. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you want the lifestyle of the outdoor lifestyle, Colorado definitely is a Pro for you. On the opposite side of that, selling your home in Colorado is going to give you that leverage to people that want to live in Colorado because of outdoors. But we'll get to more pros on selling in a bit. Going along with the outdoors, there's other benefits to living in Colorado. Colorado is usually on the top 10 places to live in the United States for the quality of life, what it provides, the beauty, and all of those essence. So once again, moving to Colorado or living in Colorado has those pros of the fact that you will see the beauty of Colorado, the mountains right next door to you, no matter how you live. Even if you live on the Eastern Plains, you're going to have a mountain view because the Rocky Mountains are just so large. And if you love what winter looks like, and if you love the snow and how it makes trees look, or even the changing of seasons in autumn, during the fall, the colors and all them type of things of the aspens, once again, another pro. And going outside and just feeling like you're in nice fresh air and seeing beautiful things and watching raccoons, hawks, and falcons and foxes and all these different animals, bears and cougars. Don't forget we do have lions in Colorado. You can call them pumas, you can call them mountain lions, you can call them whatever you want. They are lions, okay? These things are dangerous, so be careful out there. That could be a pro or con depending if you fear these animals. Otherwise, just stay out of their way and they won't bother you. But there's also rams, deer, and all these beauty things. But because of the quality of life as well, great schools and all the different opportunities that Colorado provides also comes with a price tag. And this is the reason why real estate tends to grow in Colorado, is because a lot of people want this lifestyle. So there's a lot of demand for a home here, but there's not a lot of homes available. So just keep that in mind. On the opposite side of that, the seller has the benefit of raising that price and having a little bit bigger price than you might find on the Eastern Plains or central states such as Kansas and Oklahoma and stuff like that. You might see almost a double in the price range because there's just a lot more to do here, and the quality of life is higher. Not to pound on other states that may be central states. Those may be the thing for you as well. The open plains, the be able to see as far as you can. That may be a benefit for those particular states. But in this case, we're talking about Colorado, and we know they're always on the top 10. So it's not only my opinion, but it's plenty of other people's opinions. So let's move on. And the last one I want to talk about by buying a home is the tax policies. Colorado has tax incentives such as homestead exemptions that exempt you from certain amount of taxes on your property. Kind of the way if you own a business, how you can write off stuff. By having a homestead, you only have to pay taxes on a certain percentage of that whole homestead. So that's one of the benefits. It makes it a little bit more affordable to own larger pieces of land. So just keep that in mind as well. On the seller side, these things can benefit you as well because you were a homeowner before you sold the home, using that as leverage when someone purchases your home if you have those type of homestead exemptions. Now moving on to the pros and cons of sellers. Like I said, some of these are just going to be the opposites, but we'll go into depth if there is a reason to go into depth. Now let's move on to the cons. Cons of buying a home in Colorado. Probably one of the biggest cons is if you do not like winter, if you're a Southern California type person or a Florida person or a Southern Texas person, and really don't like the seasonal changes into cold to hot to cold to hot, it probably is not the best place for you to visit unless for some reason you do love snow and driving in ice and having winters are only around 3 months, as far as maybe 2 months that you really gotta freeze and really be cold. The other ones at the beginning of the winter is very mild, and the end of winter is definitely very mild. And when I say mild, I mean that you can have a downpour of snow build up outside, and within 24 hours it's pretty much all gone and melting. The streets are usually clear within 24 hours of the snow stopping, and that's what I mean by a mild winter. However, during January and February, you can expect your lawns to definitely retain all the snow. You can expect snow to melt, turn back into ice, melt, turn back into ice dams building in front of your house. that you probably have to get out there and break. Remember, if you have a south-facing home, this shouldn't affect you as much, but a north-facing home, you definitely will be out there breaking ice unless you like driving over a bunch of ice before you drive into your driveway. So once again, a con of living in Colorado is definitely if you don't like the cold. As far as summer times, summers are just as hot as any summers. But the one thing you have to be careful for is being up at higher altitudes. Make sure that you've experienced higher altitudes so you don't get altitude sickness. It's usually something you can overcome and not getting nausea just because you're at higher altitudes, not being able to perform because you are at higher altitudes. But like I said, usually people can overcome those type of things. But you do want to be careful for the Colorado sun because it will burn you and burn you fast. So if you're out there in that Colorado sun, make sure you're using sunscreen. Everybody can be burned out here in this Colorado sun, so just remember that. One of the other cons of buying a house in Colorado is that you're going to have a lot of competition because, like I said, there is a high demand for real estate in Colorado and not a whole lot of inventory to go around. So usually, if you're going to be bidding on a home or you see a home that you really have just fell in love in, make sure you are presenting a strong offer because I guarantee you there's going to be somebody right next door to you offering even a stronger offer. So make sure when you go in to buy a home, you're really ready and serious. Another way that can show you're even more serious is maybe offering a higher escrow than maybe what they wanted. If you see that at the minimum they want $1,000, maybe kick that up to $5,000, and just keep in mind when you put something in and the earnest money that you're putting forward, that's still your money. It's going to come back to you as long as you don't mess up the deal. You're going to get that money advanced back to you back in your when you go to close and you have your total balance. It's going to come out of your total balance. So you're just using that engagement ring and the wedding ring comes afterwards, but that still goes towards it. All right, so just keep that in mind. It's kind of a pro and con, but there's ways around it as long as you have a good agent to negotiate on your behalf. So the last con I want to go over of buying a home in Colorado, and this may or may not affect you, or this may be a pro for you, depending on what your idea is about and how you feel about regulations within a state. Colorado has a pretty complex regulatory environment. They have a lot of zoning laws, building regulations, environmental regulations that it may affect how you purchase a home, or it might even get in the way of what you're wanting to do with your property. So always keep that in mind when you're buying a property. Know what the zoning laws in, and also the HOAs. Always make sure you're reading all the documents of an HOA, no matter how many papers come in that stack. It's not your real estate agent's job to do that. However, if your real estate agent knows what you don't like, he should be reading over it to say, hey, I seen in this clause of this, you like to park your cars outside on your driveway, and this particular HOA doesn't allow that. You have to have your car in your driveway with the garage door closed, or else you're risking the possibility of getting a ticket from your HOA. So just make sure you know what is involved in those zoning laws, environmental laws, the HOA. Those things are super important. Those things are super important. These may be a pro to you, but usually in most cases they're a con because it's something you want that you can't have for a particular piece of land or real estate itself as far as with a house on it. So that's my last con I got for you for buying a home in Colorado. Now on the other side, that might be a pro for you when buying a home because maybe you don't want to see cars on your block out on the street and just have your street full of cars, and you want your neighborhood to look that clean with no cars. Maybe that may be your thing, so that may be a pro for you. So not all these are pros and cons for everybody in buying, but in general, I'm going off of what I hear from people and what people don't like in a neighborhood. Usually they like the HOA to take care of the community, but not be overwhelming and telling people that here's a ticket for your trash can because you put it out 5 minutes early, or you took it away and left it in front of your door for 10 minutes as you went in to go put a hoodie on, because you don't want that crazy overbearing HOA. But if you do, then it's a pro for you. So on the selling side of pros and cons, obviously as selling your home, especially selling currently in the beginning of 2023, you definitely have the upper hand. It is a seller's market currently. There is not a lot of inventory out there, but at the same time, because of interest rates being high, there is a good amount of buyers on the market, but not an overwhelming amount as it was when the interest rates are at 3%, obviously. So once again, a pro, but it could also be a con depending on the status of your home, whether it's a updated home and you're asking for a premium amount, but that's a whole nother video. That brings us back, because the economy in Colorado is booming, there's tons of growth, a lot of people moving here. Obviously, it gives you the upper hand and the leverage to ask for whatever you're asking for that particular home. Now, this is going to change from month to month because that's just how real estate works. One minute, people want gray houses. The next minute, everybody wants white houses. So that just will vary from person to person. Obviously, you will have the upper hand because the demand is so high and the inventory is so low. So you definitely got that in your favor of a pro of selling your home in Colorado. Now, on the con side of that, because the market is so good for you as a seller, there are going to be other people selling their home in the same market that you are. So you will have to compete with other sellers within your market. So if you have 3 homes down the street and they're close to the same type of 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom type of home, nothing special about, but let's say your neighbor has updated throughout the last 10 years. They have updated their kitchen, they've added a deck, they have huge bushes in the front, a nice fence that's taken care of all the way around. Yours is leaning against. You definitely had some competition, and you're definitely going to lose a little bit of the value because someone has something to compare to your home right down the street. So just keep this in mind. Pricing your home at the right price is very important because at the same time, you may have the leverage to offer a little bit less for the price of your home to sell your home faster than your neighbors are selling their home. All right, so just keep that in mind. That's the thing. There's always a way to make yourself seem better than what your neighbor has, right? There may be something just as simple as the neighbor down the street has the exact same model of your house. They may have added a basement, but the problem is they added a basement that was just really horrible. It doesn't have a bathroom down there. It doesn't have things that people want down there. It's just a big finished room, and they didn't even really do a good job on it. It has a hanging ceiling instead of a finished ceiling. It doesn't have surround sounder in it, and you can use that as leverage towards yourself, saying we have a full unfinished basement with rough-in plumbing that you can design yourself. It already has all the things you need. You just need to build it. So that is kind of a leverage thing too, because you do have a lot of homeowners out there that want to make the basement a whole nother living space. However, someone may have finished that basement already, but it's not really what that next homeowner or home buyer wants. And they know they're going to have to rip it all apart. It's going to cost them a lot more money. And you having an unfinished basement is more to what they want. In that case, you have that leverage of, hey, this is an open floor plan for you to do it however you want. So in that particular case, they upgraded, but they did it in a bad way, and they also stopped people from upgrading the way they want to. If someone just added a whole new $25,000, $50,000 kitchen, but the people that hate the color of the cabinets and they hate the countertops of that new kitchen, it really doesn't matter if it's new. It's really what that new home buyer wants when they purchase your home. So just use that to your best abilities. Now, once again, the weather. The weather is a con for people coming from outside the state, that it may be winter is when you're trying to sell your home. There will be people that don't want to even go see your home because it snowed all week. So that is kind of a con, but usually if someone wants a home, they're going to be there to show up and buy the home. And in most cases, sellers seems like they want a new homeowner that's going to love the home as much as they did. So it usually doesn't affect us as far as where our brain is on selling the home. And in other cases, the seller just wants to sell their home and move on. And on the opposite side of that, buyers are the same way. But buyers are usually more likely to come out when your trees are beautiful, when flowers are blooming. That is to your benefit. However, in the wintertime in Colorado, everything tends to kind of turn this brownish gray. And things, even in a beautiful home, don't look as beautiful Colorado-esque as it does in the summertime or in the springtime. So just always remember that when you're putting your home on the market, you do have ups and downs of when the best time is to sell. So there's going to be cons and pros that kind of bounce back and forth on when to sell your home and how to make it look the best in that time. One tip when you're selling your home is if your time frame is to sell your home in the winter, take a lot of great pictures in the summertime when all the stuff is blooming. So this way, when you go put it on that MLS, you can use all that summer photography. So new buyers are going to see how beautiful your home is going to look in the summertime versus what it looks like in the wintertime. Because everybody that lives here is used to everything dying and looking pretty gray in the summertime. In the wintertime. So most people that do live here are aware of those type of things, but people come from an outside state, which there's a lot of them, have no clue about that. So like I said, a great tip is to take all your pictures in the summertime, even if you're not going to be selling until the wintertime. All right, that's all I have today for the pros and cons of buying a home in Colorado. If you have some pros and cons that you want to share with me, or even something that means more to you or really you hate about Colorado, post it down below. I'd love to read it and chat about that. Also, remember to reach out to me if you have any questions or looking to buy or sell in Colorado. Would love to help you out with that. Until then, remember, always forward and keep killing it out there. Take care.